Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a thriller from Paraguay. Now this is spoken in two languages. You've got the Guarani language, which is a native to Paraguay. It's not Spanish, so it is different. And it's also got the Spanish language. So it's got English subs, released in the year 2012, directed by Juan Carlos Menegula and Tana Shambori. And this movie is called Seven Boxes. Now Seven Boxes, Victor is the main character. He is this young guy who is working in the markets in Asuncion. Now in the markets he carries these wheelbarrows. He's a very poor sort of individual, and he dreams of impressing this girl by buying a mobile phone. So basically a mobile phone gives you the title of being rich. So he dreams of this, and so he wants more work. So he comes to this guy who works in this butchery, and he says that he really needs the work and that he will accept the offer to deliver 7 very mysterious boxes to this person. Now, Victor doesn't know what's inside these boxes, and the people working in the butchery tell him don't open them. Under no circumstances are the contents to be revealed. All he has to do is deliver them to the people that he says, and that he'll get a handsome sum of money. So he doesn't suspect anything wrong, and he ends up delivering these boxes. Now, along the way, he runs into a lot of problems because these boxes were never meant to be delivered. In fact, the butchers had it wrong, and that Victor, it being a first time delivering these sorts of goods, was never meant to get these packages. So Victor's life is in grave danger, and there are people after Victor as well as the police. And so, not knowing what is inside these boxes, Victor has to steer himself clear of the oncoming threat in order to get out of this ordeal in one piece. So whether or not Victor gets through this ordeal in one piece and gets the money he wants, it's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on Seven Boxes. You guys know that I love South American cinema. When it comes to South American cinema, it's Argentina, Brazil, and Colombia that really make a name for themselves. And then you've got other countries like Paraguay, Chile. Now, Chile is an up-and-comer, but as far as Paraguay is concerned, I hadn't seen any other film from there. And so when it comes to new time cinema in South America, Uruguay is another one worth mentioning, with The Silent House. Now, The Silent House has since been remade by Hollywood, but that movie had a lot of good elements to it, but unfortunately the ending to that film ruined it. But I thought that was really good. So I was hoping with Seven Boxes this was going to be another film that would really set the benchmark as far as a new country is concerned. So a lot of hype surrounding it, which was a problem because obviously expectation level is going to be very high. And I like the film in some regards, and I didn't like the film in other regards. Now, for a thriller, it works on some levels, but on other levels it doesn't. Now, what I liked about it is that it is set in a very poor community of Paraguay. So it's not a glamorous film. It's not going to set yourself up for wanting to go to this country. Now, that's not a bad thing, because it's easy to advertise your country in a very beautiful way. There are very beautiful parts of Paraguay. But what I liked about it was it wasn't set in the glamour. It was set in the slummy areas, and you could feel the desperation that these characters were in. And you could feel the desperation that Victor was in. You want him to come out of this because he was living in a very poor environment, and you can sense that he was a good guy. So already the character development was there, and I thought the side story between him and this love interest was quite heartwarming. But unfortunately for that side interest, I thought it got in the way of the thrilling aspect, and ultimately what it wants to be is a thriller. But unfortunately I thought the side story, it does sidetrack the film. It forgets what it wants to do, and it does ruin the continuity a little bit. So a movie on its own with the side story would have been really good, because it is a very heartwarming tale of love, and you sense that these two people are caught in a very tough situation of poverty, and that element worked. But unfortunately when that element works with the thriller element, it bogs it down a little bit, and it doesn't really become what it wants to be. And what it wants to be is a breakneck speed sort of thriller. And the problem with me is that, yes, there are elements to the film that work very well as a thriller, but when the side story kicks into gear during the thrilling elements, the movie forgets the thriller, and it kind of goes down a romance path. And so it's never sustained. What I mean by that is that, yes, you're on the edge of your seat with some of the action sequences. I thought the choreography was very good. The use of a shaky camera usually is a bad thing, but in this one, you actually feel like you're running out of breath because you're running just behind this main character. So when he's being pursued, it feels very realistic. So I like that aspect. But then, as I said, when it goes, it will go, and then he'll escape, and then he'll be catching his breath, and then it'll go into the love story and the side story. And you kind of forget all the suspense. It wears off on you, and then it kicks up again, and then it wears off, and then it kicks up again. So I thought it would have been much better if it was sustained. and that's the reason why I thought the side story of the romance gets in the way a little bit, and it's not quite as smooth as it should have been, and that bothered me a little bit. I thought, yeah, it wants to be a thriller, but unfortunately the side story is just a little bit too big, and it does become a little bit of a distraction because you forget all the good things that have just happened. So the ending got a little bit ridiculous, to be honest. I thought right at the end was a little bit far-fetched, and I'm not quite sure why they wanted to go down that path. There's a little bit of CGI violence in there as well, which is, you know, something I don't like. But you know, it is a good film, but there is a lot that kind of holds it down a little bit. I thought the director bit off a little bit more than he could chew with this film. The soundtrack was good. I like there was some soundtrack that was really heartwarming. Once again, there's a soundtrack that was down a thriller aspect of it too. But once again, the soundtrack, when it combines, you've got the haunting atmosphere of a chase, then all of a sudden it breaks into a very feel-good sort of tune. And so both of them just don't mix very well, and it feels like they're two movies in one here. And when they combine together, it just feels a little bit out of place, a little bit disjointed. And for me, that's what prevented me from loving this film. But having said that, as far as Paraguayan cinema is concerned, I would still recommend it if you're a fan of South American cinema. It does capture a different side of Paraguay, a very dangerous side, and so I like that. It's not afraid to capture the ugliness of a situation. But for me, it's just that, you know, that the two elements didn't quite combine as well as it should have, and for me, I just didn't enjoy it as much as a lot of other people out there did. So who knows, you might enjoy it a lot more than I did, but for me, there were just too many problems in the movie to make it a very good one. But having said that, there is something to like about it. So overall, for 7 boxes, I'm going to give it 3 stars, and I'm still going to recommend it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.